Imagine a vast body of water that doesn't just sit there. It physically pivots, reversing its entire direction twice every year. Picture an African island whose original inhabitants didn't arrive from the nearby coast, but instead sailed 4,000 miles across the open sea from Asia. Welcome to the Indian Ocean. While many see it as just a backdrop for tropical postcards, it is actually the geopolitical and geographic engine of our modern world. From submarine mountain ranges built by tectonic drive-bys to forbidden islands frozen in the Stone Age, here are 15 mind-blowing facts about the Indian Ocean. 1. The Great Current Flip. Most of our planet's oceans follow a predictable rhythm, with currents flowing in steady, permanent loops. The Indian Ocean, however, is a rebel. Its surface circulation is governed by the monsoons. In the winter, winds blow from the northeast, pushing water toward Africa. But during the summer, as the Asian landmass heats up, the winds violently reverse. This causes the massive Somali current to physically change direction, a phenomenon found nowhere else on Earth at this scale. This flip is the region's heartbeat. It brings nutrient-rich cold water to the surface, fueling a marine food web that feeds millions. 2. The 90 East Ridge, deep beneath the eastern Indian Ocean, lies a geological oddity, the 90 East Ridge. This is a submarine mountain range that runs almost perfectly straight along the 91st meridian. It wasn't formed by plates crashing together. Instead, it's the result of a tectonic drive-by. As the Indian plate raced toward its collision with Asia millions of years ago, it slid over a stationary magma plume called the Kerguelen hotspot. The hotspot burned a linear scar through the moving crust, leaving behind a perfect 5,000-kilometer-long record of the speed and direction of India's journey toward the Himalayas. 3. The world's massive thermal battery. The Indian Ocean is geographically unique because it's landlocked to the north. Unlike the Atlantic or Pacific, it can't vent its heat into the freezing Arctic. Consequently, it acts as a thermal battery, maintaining the warmest surface temperatures of any ocean. While that sounds great for a swim, it's a biological crisis. Warm water holds less oxygen. This has created oxygen minimum zones in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea, vast dead zones where most marine life simply cannot survive. As global temperatures rise, these zones are expanding, threatening the fisheries that sustain the surrounding nations. 4. The M-shaped funnel. If you look at a map, the northern coastline of the Indian Ocean forms a distinct M shape. The left, the Arabian Peninsula and Horn of Africa. The center, the Indian subcontinent. The right, Indochina and Australia. This shape acts as a massive atmospheric funnel. Because the ocean is capped by the Himalayas, evaporating moisture has nowhere to go but inland. The M shape guides this moisture directly over the Indian subcontinent, creating the Asian monsoon, arguably the most important weather event on Earth, responsible for watering the crops of billions of people. 5. Fragments of a lost continent, islands in the middle of the deep ocean, are usually volcanic or coral. But the Seychelles are a geological freak of nature. The inner islands are made of granite, a rock typically found only on continents. About 65 million years ago, as the supercontinent Gondwana shattered, India tore away from Africa. A chunk of continental crust splintered off and was left behind. The Seychelles are actually the peaks of a submerged microcontinent called the Mascarene Plateau. This ancient isolation is why you'll find prehistoric flora here, like the coco de mer, which produces the largest seed in the plant kingdom. 6. The first global economy. We often think of globalization as a modern invention, but the Indian Ocean was the world's first true global marketplace. centuries before European explorers arrived. The engine was the reliability of the geography itself. Because the monsoon winds were so predictable, sailors didn't need high-tech tools, they just needed patience. By 100 CE, merchants were riding the winds from Roman Egypt to India to trade gold for pepper, then waiting for the wind to flip to ride it back home. This monsoon marketplace connected the Roman, Han, Mauryan, and Aksumite empires long before the Silk Road reached its peak. 7. The 4,000-mile migration Madagascar is only 250 miles from East Africa, yet its first human inhabitants didn't come from Africa. They came from Borneo and Indonesia, over 4,000 miles away. Genetic studies show that the Malagasy people are descendants of Austronesian sailors who crossed the entire ocean in outrigger canoes. To this day, the Malagasy language shares 90% of its core vocabulary with languages found in Borneo. It is one of history's most staggering feats of navigation. 8. The Great Treasure Fleet. In the 15th century, the Indian Ocean was dominated not by Europeans, but by the Ming dynasty's treasure fleet. Commanded by Admiral Zheng He, this fleet included over 300 ships and 28,000 crew members. His flagship was 400 feet long, 5 times the size of Columbus's Santa Maria. They sailed from China to the Swahili coast of Africa, not to conquer, but to project soft power. The sudden destruction of this fleet by a later emperor remains one of history's greatest what-ifs. 9. Birthplace of the free sea. The legal concept that the ocean belongs to everyone, mare liberum, was born in the Indian Ocean. For millennia, it was a free sea until the Portuguese arrived in 1498 and tried to force ships to buy passes. This led to a massive legal battle in Europe. In 1603, after the Dutch seized a Portuguese ship, jurist Hugo Grotius argued that the ocean is fluid and infinite, and therefore cannot be property. This Indian Ocean trade war became the foundation for all modern international maritime law. 10. The survivors of Tromelin. In 1761, a French ship carrying enslaved Malagasy people wrecked on Tromelin Island, a tiny treeless sandbank in the middle of the ocean. The French crew escaped on a raft, promising to return, but they didn't come back for 15 years. Left alone on a 1-kilometer strip of sand, the survivors dug wells through 15 feet of sand and kept a signal fire burning for over a decade using only driftwood. When they were finally rescued in 1776, only 7 women and a baby remained. Their story is a haunting monument to human resilience against hostile geography. 11. The world's jugular vein. Today, the Indian Ocean is the primary conduit for global energy. Roughly 40% of the world's seaborne oil trade moves through this basin. It relies on 2 critical choke points. The Strait of Hormuz, 20 million barrels of oil pass through here daily. The Strait of Malacca, only 1.7 miles wide at its narrowest point, yet it carries the energy supply for China, Japan, and South Korea. A blockage in either would freeze the global economy in days. 12. The ghost state. The Maldives is the lowest country on Earth. Its average elevation is just 1.5 meters, about 5 feet above sea level. The highest point in the entire nation is lower than a basketball hoop. As sea levels rise, the Maldives faces becoming a ghost state, a nation with a legal government but no physical land. They are already exploring radical solutions like building artificial islands such as Hulhumalay to relocate their entire population. 13. The biological scuba tanks in the waters around Indonesia. The Bajau people, sea nomads, have lived on houseboats for over 1,000 years. Their lifestyle has actually triggered human evolution. A 2018 study found that the Bajau have developed spleens 50% larger than those of land-based humans. The spleen acts like a biological scuba tank, injecting oxygen-rich blood into the system during dives. This allows them to stay underwater for minutes at a time and hunt at depths of over 200 feet. 14. The Forbidden Island. North Sentinel Island is home to perhaps the most isolated tribe on Earth. The Sentinelese have rejected all contact with the modern world for thousands of years. The Indian government maintains a strict 5-mile exclusion zone around the island. This isn't just for the safety of visitors, but to protect the Sentinelese. Because of their isolation, a common cold or the flu could potentially wipe out their entire civilization. It remains one of the last no-go zones on the map. 15. The center of the future. While the Atlantic defined the 20th century, the Indian Ocean will define the 21st. Its rim is home to 2.7 billion people, more than a third of the world's population. By 2050, countries bordering this ocean are expected to account for over half of global GDP growth. It is no longer just a barrier between continents. It is the town square of the fastest growing markets on Earth. The Indian Ocean isn't as massive as the Pacific or as famous as the Atlantic, but it is undoubtedly the most dynamic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.